So if you all would come into places, please. Good morning, everyone. Good Earth Day morning. Good Earth Day weekend. So good to see all of you this morning. Welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here on the ancestral lands of the Eno, Saponi, Sissipaha, Shakori, and Lumbee people whose descendants live amongst us to this very day. I'm Reverend Jacqueline Brett, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender, whomever you love, and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, we welcome you here at ERUUF. If you are visiting with us for the first or maybe many times, or if you are here and perhaps you're a member and have just not been here in a while, we invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we can welcome you into this space. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this Sunday morning with us, and welcome back to those of you who have not been here in a while. We invite all of you who are visiting with us. We have the Inquirers class for visitors and newcomers that takes place at 9:30 a.m. on Sundays, both in person in the building next door, the Commons Room, as well as being live streamed. And we also have classes for our children at 9:30 a.m. as well. So we invite you to participate in all of those. And I also just want to say a word to those of you who are watching on the live stream too. Please put your name in the chat box so that we can also welcome you as well. I wanted all of you to know about a few important things that are happening here at ERUUF. Today, directly after this service, our Earth Justice Action Group is hosting a plant-based meal that's for everyone in celebration of our accreditation as a Green Sanctuary by the UUA. Yes, they led that work, and it was several years in the making, and we did it, and so it's a lot to celebrate. I also wanted to let you know that next Sunday, May 1st, is New Member Sunday. And we will be welcoming the 57 people who joined ERUUF since March 1st, 2020. And most of those people joined ERUUF having never been here physically. And so we've invited them to come in. They signed the book virtually. And so we've invited them to come in for an actual in-person signing of the real membership book, the actual physical membership book. So many of them will be here. We're going to re-covenant with them that Sunday. So we hope you'll be here as well to welcome them. And yeah, it's actually quite astounding that so many people chose to join our community during that time. And also, I want you to save the date, May 21st. That's a Saturday evening. That is the evening that we will be celebrating Reverend Care. It is her last weekend here as ERUUF's lead minister. And actually on May 22nd, that is her last service that she'll be leading. And so that evening, there is a celebration being planned. All are welcome, the youngest and all the way through the lifespan. Everybody's welcome to participate on Saturday evening. And look at eNews. Stay tuned. There will be more news about that in the weeks to come. So we hope you'll, let's all try to show up so for Reverend Care to give her a great send-off as we're able to do that. So today's service is our annual Earth Day service that has been co-created by members of the Earth Justice Action Team. And so we are celebrating our beloved Earth, honoring our beloved Earth on this morning. Our music is being led by Jewel Song this morning, and so we welcome them. And I think that is, yes, we have our usual suspects on as tech team. That's Sean Trimble and Michelle Sager, and we have Kathleen on and Stephen on sound. So let us center ourselves right now into this moment. I actually see somebody that I want to, I'm just going to totally embarrass heck out of her, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Dr. Wendy Looker, our new music director, is here. Wendy, would you stand up? There are eager hearts awaiting your presence for the year to come. Welcome, Wendy. But again, let's center ourselves and to this time and this place and this now. And let's all together take a collective deep breath in and let it out. And let us now continue with our worship.
Our prelude is a song that we share with permission from the songwriters, the Native American women's a cappella group, Ulali. We sing this to honor the peoples whose lands these were before us. We honor them not just because they preceded us, but also because they lived in a way that we who took their lands have forgotten and must relearn. If we are to survive, we must remember we are the earth, not just on it. The lyrics are from the Tupelo Saponi First Nation language, and they translate as, Creator, our hearts are big, our minds are fine. Spirits of the old ones, teach strength. Give us strength to stand tall, sing, and dance. We are all related. Thank you. Makchi.
Makchi tambui ampigidi. Makchi tambui khonspewayebi. Makchi tambui ampigidi. Makchi tambui khonspewayebi mampiwa hokayiman. Tahontani kaitai. Kiwe me itai. Nankayat yamuni e wajitse. Nankayat yamuni e wajitse. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, away na. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, away, 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 ya ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, away na. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, away, away, away. Makchi tambui ampigidi. Makchi tambui khonspewa ebi. Makchi tambui ampigidi. Makchi tambui khonspewa ebi mampiwa hokayimon. Tahontani kaitai. Kiwe me itai. Nankayat yamuni e wajitse. Nankayat yamuni e wajitse. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, away na. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, away na. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, away, away, away. Makchitambui, makchigidi, makchitambui, 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 mampiwa, hokayimon. Tahon tani kaitai, iwe me itai, nankayat yamuni e wajitse, nankayat yamuni e wajitse, nankayat yamuni e wajitse.
Our opening words this morning are from prophetic voices that speak to our relationship with nature and our world. In wildness is the preservation of the world. Henry David Thoreau. I think having land and not ruining it is the most beautiful art that anybody could ever want. Andy Warhol.
Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Harriet Tubman.
The clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness. John Muir.
The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere they can be quiet, alone with the heavens, nature, and God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. I firmly believe that nature brings a solace in all troubles. Anne Frank.
And the next three quotes are from Howard Zinn. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. What we choose to emphasize in the complex history will determine our lives.
If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending the spinning top of a world in a different direction.
If we do act, however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of present moments. And to live now as we think human beings should live in defiance of all that is around us is itself a marvelous victory.
And so we light our chalice this morning with a reminder from Eleanor Roosevelt that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And Khalil Gibran, who says, "Forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair, even when you don't have any." And so we shall sing together now. Our first hymn is Swimming to the Other Side. Jules' song will lead us, and the words will appear on the screen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit.
We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side.
On this journey through thoughts and feelings, finding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me band together to be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side.
When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
Please turn and greet your neighbor.
Good morning. Marietta Goes and I, as co-chairs of the 2022-23 Pledge Drive, are here this morning to report out the results. I started my first pledge drive by raising up "thank you" as the simplest prayer. So I'll say again simply, thank you. I want to thank the staff, the volunteers, especially those who tape testimonials, and I want to thank all of you, the congregation, for everything that you do to make ERUUF a special place. Generosity comes from the heart, and it should always be measured that way. However, I will share a few numbers with you. The projected pledge drive total is a heartwarming $790,000, $10,000 more than last year. That comes from 332 pledging units. Two highlights show the inspiring ways that ERUUFians are embracing the new chapter that is opening in front of us. First, there were 32 new pledges, triple last year. And second, 36% of the pledges were increases from the previous year. Both of those are great results. Thank you all. To paraphrase a statement I recently came across, diversity is everyone having a seat in the pews. But diversity is a means, not an end. Inclusion is everyone having a voice. But what we want is belonging. Belonging is everyone's voice being heard. Pledging is one important way that everyone can have their voice heard and to belong. For every voice to be heard, though, we must all become better listeners. In small group ministry, we are taught deep listening, the art of listening to understand the other, rather than listening to respond. Together, we make this a holy place, but together we must make places and holes in the dialogue for all to be heard. We all have things to be grateful for. In my life, one of the things that I am most grateful for is having ERUUF to belong to. And that would not be possible if not for all of you. So speaking personally, thank you. Marietta is not here today to join us in person, but she taped this message from her heart.
Good morning. Michael has just shared the results of this year's pledge drive, the facts and the figures. We want to thank you all for being such good stewards. Your financial support is so appreciated. Your pledge defines the budget necessary to support our shared ministry. But stewardship is about so much more than budgets and money. Stewardship is a joyous opportunity to express our passion to build a better world and to explore our own abilities in community with other congregants. All that we do to support our own spiritual lives, the life of the congregation, the ministry of the congregation, the mission and vision of the congregation is stewardship. Being in community is essential to effective stewardship. As Mark Morrison Reed, UU minister and author, said, the religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen. Together, our vision widens and strength is renewed. We have been deprived of community for so long. Now is the time to reconnect as you are able and feel comfortable doing. We need to shake off the lethargy of shutdown. Come back to Sunday service. Reach out to groups that interest you. See friends face to face rather than on Zoom. Although I am out of town and appearing on video today, I have been back to on-campus services and have felt the love, the energy, the sense of belonging, and the simple joy of being with people again, face to face. Again, we thank you for your financial investment. Now come join me and your fellow ruffians in making a personal investment in this wonderful community we are forging together. There is a place here for everyone, and all are welcome. I look forward to being a beloved community with you again soon.
The Last Wild Witch by Starhawk. Once there was a perfect town in a perfect world where there were rules for everything and a right way and a wrong way to do everything, and nobody ever broke the rules. Well, hardly ever. For on the farthest edge of the perfect town stood the last magic forest, and the forest was wild. The plants, the birds, the animals, the insects, and the fish in the streams all lived by their own nature and didn't follow any rules at all. Part of the last magic forest lived the last wild witch. All day she brewed herbs and berries, making a healing brew in her magic cauldron, which she fed to the animals of the forest. And at night she sang enchanting songs and played her drum. Sometimes the wind would bring a bit of the fragrance of her magic brew or a few notes of the magic songs into town, and the children would hear them in the night, and they'd get a little bit of wildness inside of them. In a great while, a few of the children would sneak out at night and run through the forest to visit the last wild witch. But all she would say is, "Have some soup."
Who are you? Have some soup. Okay.
When the parents found out that the children had been out all night long, they were very angry. So they complained to the mayor.
Something must be done. The wildness must be stopped. We must cut down the woods to expose the witch's hiding place. Yeah, I agree. Witch, the parents are gonna cut down the forest. What are we gonna do? Have some soup.
The next morning, the grown-ups of the perfect town took their axes and saws, and they went down to the forest. And when the judge swung his axe and hit the tree screamed. And then the trees threw branches and acorns at the grown-ups, and they ran away, scared. The mayor called another meeting, and this time they decided they'd have to burn down the forest.
Witch! They're gonna burn down the forest! The parents They're gonna burn down the forest! You will go down with it! Have some soup.
The grown-ups didn't know was that the children had a plan. So when they lifted their torch, the children ran into the forest.
Oh, kids, wait! Where are you going? We cannot burn down the forest while the kids are in there, because they will go with the forest. We should catch them.
The children hid for a long time, but while they were hiding, the grown-ups kept searching through the woods, and they saw pretty streams and little rabbits, and a hawk flew overhead. It was really quite nice.
Kids! Oh, wait, wait? Have some soup. Oh, that's not bad.
Hello, townspeople, the mayor said. We've been saved from a terrible mistake by our children. Perhaps we need a little wildness, too. And then the children jumped out from their hiding places. Everybody laughed and hugged, and then they all started dancing, along with the deer and the birds and the rabbits, and the witch played her drum. From that day, things changed in the perfect town. The grown-ups and the children often went to the woods to visit, and sometimes the witch came to town, especially when someone was sick and needed a taste of magic brew for healing. The children still learned their lessons, but they danced and sang and walked in the woods, and they hardly ever stood in perfectly straight lines. So things were not so perfect, but they were better.
An EPA study found that the average person in this country spends 93% of their time indoors. It's no wonder we've lost connection with nature. There is a practice in Japan called Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. Now we invite you to close your eyes and imagine going forest bathing. Here's a description by the scientist King Lee in an article in Time magazine. First, imagine you are in a beautiful, green, lush forest. Now you begin to walk aimlessly, slowly. Let your body be your guide. Listen to where it wants to take you. And take your time. You're not going anywhere. You're savoring the sounds, smells, and sights of nature and letting the forest in. The key to unlocking the power of the forest is in the 5 senses. Let nature enter through your ears, eyes, nose, mouth, hands, and feet. Listen to the birds singing and the breeze rustling in the trees. Look at the greens of the trees, the different colors, and the sunlight filtering through the branches. Smell the fragrance of the forest and breathe in this natural aromatherapy. Taste the freshness of the air as you take deep breaths. Place your hands on the trunk of a tree. Dip your fingers or toes in a stream. Lie on the ground. Drink in the flavor of the forest and relish your sense of joy and calm. This is your 6th sense, a state of mind. Now you have connected with nature. You have crossed the bridge to happiness. Wendell Berry said, "I go among trees and sit still. All my stirring becomes quiet around me like circles on the water. My tasks lie in their places where I left them, asleep like cattle. Then what is afraid of me comes and lives a while in my sight. What it fears leaves me, and the fear of me leaves it. It sings, and I hear its song. Then what I am afraid of comes, and I live for a while in its sight. What I fear in it leaves it, and the fear of it leaves me. It sings, and I hear its song. After days of labor, mute in my consternations, I hear my song at last, and I sing it. As we sing, the day turns, the trees move. Connecting with nature is a crucial step in awakening to our collective mission and keeping us grounded and healthy enough to participate in what has been called the Great Turning. For if we want to leave a world habitable to our children and grandchildren, we must face the devastating truth that, as Sir David Attenborough puts it, we are on the verge of destruction.
As I wander on this shoreline, over coral rocks and silky sand, I envision ancient humans, one with nature, part of sea and land. As I step carefully past
it. We are in the midst of mass extinction. I wonder how it ends. I wonder how it ends. We're altering the constants upon which our life depends. I wonder how it ends. I wonder how it ends. Can we save her from this fever? Can we balance her again? I wonder, I wonder, I wonder, I wonder, I wonder, I wonder. We are more than foolish mortals, plagued by ignorance, some arrogance, yet we're dancing with destruction. What can wake us from our deadly trance? In each moment rests the power to connect with love or dwell in fear. Can our passion for creation lure us out to see the beauty here? And I wonder how it ends. I wonder how it ends. Will we heed the death through soon enough to change these awful trends? I wonder how it ends. I wonder how it ends. Can we save us from our madness? Can we honor her again? I wonder, I wonder, I wonder, I wonder, I wonder, I wonder. The clouds are purple puffs with orange streaks in deepening azure skies, and the breezes cool caressing, sweetly blessing on this full moonrise. I am splashing through the breakers, pink and aqua, golden crashing foam. You are laughing, you are playing, you are all this. This is all our home. And I thank you for this life. I thank you for this life. I thank you for the beauty that dissolves our pain and strife. I thank you for this life. I thank you for this life. I thank you for this moment when it's good to be alive. I am in wonder, in wonder, in wonder. 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 I wonder, I wonder, I wonder.
I invite you to join with me now for a moment of contemplation and prayer. Dear love that holds us, that weaves the interdependent web of existence, human, plant, animal, insect, fishes, birds, microbes, earth, sun, moon, universe, of which we are all a part. while our minds sometimes find it difficult to grasp the magnitude and magnificence of it all. This love we receive that weaves us, holds us. May our hearts open in wonder, awe, deep gratitude for the beauty of the earth and all that sustains us, seen and unseen. May our hearts open to a great reciprocity of love, consciousness of love, outpouring of love we choose to make to sustain our earth and all that holds us. No action too small, no action too great in what we choose toward the sustaining well-being of the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. And let us sit for a moment in silent contemplation and the opening of our hearts. We lift up all the beloveds of ERUUF who are celebrating joys and milestones, as well as those navigating illness or loss of loved ones. May all those upon the earth experiencing difficulty, great or small, receive what they most need for peace and well-being, and the peace and well-being of all. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
It's clear we can no longer live as if we have unlimited resources. We can no longer defer to those who continue to endanger us, whether they are economists or corporate CEOs or leaders of nations. We must see through the illusions of infinite economic growth. More is better. Meat is an essential part of a healthy diet. And there is an away where we can throw our trash. These are deadly lies, and they are killing us. James Baldwin said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Today we face our mistakes and the illusions born of the ego's fear, and turn to a deeper power, love. Now, Sue Ann will introduce a song she wrote combining Sufi tradition with Maya wisdom.
Greetings. The Islamic and Sufi traditions use a wonderful collection of divine qualities or beautiful names. There are 99 known, and one of them is Al-Ghafur. Al-Ghafur is that divine quality of forgiveness, the ability to shine the light of intelligence on a situation so that you can see through the illusions into the truth and so that you can forgive. So this is Ya Ghafur, the Ya being an honorific title. And this has movements too. which I would like for you to do, seated or standing. So let us begin. Our demonstrators will be over here. So the words are, forgive me when I cannot see beyond the veil of illusion. And that's repeated. I open my heart to the divine light, which helps me to see beyond the veil of illusion. And then the next part is Ya Gafur. And we bow to the right and to the left and circle. Ya Gafur, Ya Gafur, Ya Gafur, Ya Gafur, Ya Gafur, Ya Gafur. Let us begin. Please stand if you are able. We are forgiven for all our mistakes.
So we face the mess we've made and ask forgiveness of ourselves, each other, and the earth. So now what do? David Attenborough has an answer. Restoring biodiversity on Earth is the only way out of the crisis we have created, and that in turn means rewilding the world, reestablishing the balance between the human world and the rest of nature, step by step. In the film David Attenborough, A Life on Our Planet, the 94-year-old documentarian lays out a seven-fold path to regenerating our world. Put people and planet before profit. Replace oil with renewable energy. Embrace a sustainable lifestyle. Create no fishing zones in the ocean. Farm smarter and eat less meat. Protect the forests. Raise people out of poverty to slow population growth. As you can see, none of these are impossible or rely on technology that doesn't exist. They are choices we must make individually and collectively. They are consistent with our UUA principles, and they lead to a better world than what we have right now. Some of them you are already doing. Some of them you do on a small scale. So you can't reforest the Amazon by yourself, but you can replace a part of your lawn with native and pollinator plants. There is a movement called Homegrown National Park that helps to encourage and plot these. You can decrease the amount of meat, especially beef, that you eat, and you can start right after service by attending the Green Sanctuary celebration and enjoying a delicious plant-based lunch. As you may know, our congregation has recently received our Green Sanctuary certification thanks to 5 years of work by many of our members, led by the Earth Justice Action Team. Yesterday, we hosted a sustainable living fair to help people learn about and work towards towards a more sustainable lifestyle. The group has held film and book discussions and plant-based eating talks. We've decreased our fossil fuel use here at ERUUF by installing solar panels and replacing aging HVAC systems with efficient models. We're on a good path, but sometimes it's hard to see how these small changes can make such a big difference. I learned a useful maxim recently that goes, you prove what you believe. We see the world through our mental constructs and our opinions. If we feel hopeless or overwhelmed, we are likely to stay stuck and do nothing, thus proving that it's hopeless. But what if we all decided to believe that saving ourselves and our planet was not only possible and essential, but would also improve our lives, our societies, and our children's lives? Could we then go about proving that? Proof comes in small steps that reinforce your belief. What one small step could you take today? And what if millions of people took a similar small step? A new report by Global World Web Index found that the Attenborough effect has led to a 53% reduction in single-use plastic usage over the past 12 months. That is the result of millions of people making small individual choices inspired by one person's belief and work. It can be difficult to see change like this, and that makes it hard to believe in, as seeing is believing. That's where a vision of the future is helpful. Here is one possible future we can choose to believe in.
The bullet train from New York to DC. It always brings me back to when I first started making this commute. In 2019, I was a freshman in the most diverse Congress in history. Up to that point, it was a critical time. I'll never forget the children in our community. They were so inspired to see this new class of politicians who reflected them, navigating the halls of power. It's often said, you can't be what you can't see. And for the first time, they saw themselves. I think there was something similar with the Green New Deal. We knew that we needed to save the planet and that we had all the technology to do it, but people were scared. They said it was too big, too fast, not practical. I think that's because they just couldn't picture it yet. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with how we got here. 1977, New York. A senior scientist named James Black made a presentation about how burning fossil fuels could eventually lead to global temperatures rising 4 or 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Within 2 years, one of the world's biggest supertankers was outfitted with a state-of-the-art lab to measure CO2 in the ocean, gathering more data about global warming. Guess who was doing all of this research? ExxonMobil, the oil and gas company. Oh yeah, Exxon knew this whole time, as did our politicians. 10 years later, James Hansen, NASA's top climate scientist, told Congress he was 99% certain that global warming was happening and caused by humans. That was 1988, the year before I was even born. So did Exxon listen to the science, including their own? Did they change business models, invest in renewables? No, the opposite. They knew and they doubled down. They and others spent millions setting up a network of lobby groups and think tanks to create doubt and denial about climate change. It was an effort designed to attack and dispute the very kind of science they themselves had been doing. And it worked. Politicians went to bat for fossil fuels, and these massive corporations kept digging and mining, drilling and fracking like there was no tomorrow. America became the biggest producer and consumer of oil in the world. Fossil fuel companies made hundreds of billions, while the public paid the lion's share to clean up their disasters. We lost a generation of time we'll never get back. Entire species will never get back. Natural wonders gone forever. And in 2017, Hurricane Maria destroyed the place where my family was from, Puerto Rico. It was like a climate bomb. It took as many American lives as 9/11. And in the next year, when I was elected to Congress, the world's leading climate scientists declared another emergency. They told us that we had 12 years left to cut our emissions in half, or hundreds of millions of people would be more likely to face food and water shortages, poverty, and death. 12 years to change everything. How we got around, how we fed ourselves, how we made our stuff, how we lived and worked, everything. The only way to do it was to transform our economy, which we already knew was broken, since the vast majority of wealth was going to just a small handful of people, and most folks were falling further and further behind. It was a true turning point. Lots of people gave up. They said we were doomed. But some of us remembered that as a nation, we'd been in peril before. The Great Depression, World War II. We knew from our history how to pull together to overcome impossible odds. And at the very least, we owed it to our children to try. The wave began when Democrats took back the House in 2018, and then the Senate and the White House in 2020, and launched the decade of the Green New Deal, a flurry of legislation that kicked off our social and ecological transformation to save the planet. It was the kind of swing-for-the-fence ambition we needed. Finally, we were entertaining solutions on the scale of the crises we faced without leaving anyone behind. That included Medicare for All, the most popular social program in American history. We also introduced the federal jobs guarantee, a public option including dignified living wages for work. Funnily enough, the biggest problem in those early years was a labor shortage. We were building a national smart grid, retrofitting every building in America, putting trains like this one all across the country. We needed more workers. That group of kids from my neighborhood were right in the middle of it all, especially this one girl, Ileana. Her first job out of college was with AmeriCorps Climate, restoring wetlands and bayous in coastal Louisiana. Most of her friends were in her union, including some oil workers in transition. They took apart old pipelines and got to work planting mangroves with the same salary and benefits. Of course, when it came to healing the land, we had huge gaps in our knowledge. Luckily, Indigenous communities offered generational expertise to help guide the way. Ileana got restless, tried her hand as a solar plant engineer for a while, but eventually made her career in raising the next generation as part of the Universal Child Care Initiative. As it turns out, caring for others is valuable, low-carbon work, and we started paying real money to folks like teachers, domestic workers, and home health aides. Those were years of massive change, and not all of it was good. When Hurricane Sheldon hit southern Florida, parts of Miami went underwater for the last time. But as we battled the floods, fires, and droughts, we knew how lucky we were to have started acting when we did. And we didn't just change the infrastructure, we changed how we did things. We became a society that was not only modern and wealthy, but dignified and humane too. By committing to universal rights like healthcare and meaningful work for all, we stopped being so scared of the future. We stopped being scared of each other, and we found our shared purpose. Ileana heard the call too, and in 2028, she ran for office in the first cycle of publicly funded election campaigns. And now she occupies the seat that I once held. I couldn't be more proud of her, a true child of the Green New Deal. When I think back to my first term in Congress, riding that old school Amtrak in 2019, all of this was still ahead of us. And the first big step was just closing our eyes and imagining it. We can be whatever we have the courage to see. Ah, the bullet train from New York to DC.
A lot to think about, yes? But we have the imagination to see. We gather and in beloved community each week to think and contemplate such things. And so if the greeters would forward all that we see and all that we experience here at ERUUF is generosity of both our members and our friends and all who like what they see we're doing and want to support it. And so if the greeters would please step forward, we will collect this morning's offering, and we can do that in many ways. We pass the plates, as is our tradition, but I also invite you to just take out your smartphone right now, and you can go to ERUUF.org and just hit the give button, and it'll take you to our secure portal so that you can give that way. And if you hit give again, it'll give you information on how to do that. And if you don't have cash on your person, if you don't have a smartphone, we actually have a laptop in the office, and you can give that way. And so we will begin our offertory now with Jewel's song.
Another song by Betsy.
Here on this beautiful day, we are gathered to say, we will work, we will play, we will dance, we will pray for the healing of this wondrous and enchanting planet. From the recklessness, the carelessness, the damage from our fearful and foolish relationship to our Creator, Sustainer. Forgive us, we're starting to live so that all of life has space to thrive and be respected. If we would survive, we have to learn we're all connected. So we begin from the heart, and we choose just one part of the work to be done. And we find that it's fun to be part of something bigger than we know we can achieve. And we're stepping out to heal the earth. We're choosing to believe in the beauty around us and in us. We see our community blossoming, healing us. So we let beauty lead the way to a bright and balanced day, when the earth and all our kin and ourselves are holy. Here on this beautiful day, we are gathered to say, we will work, we will play, we will dance, we will pray for the healing of this wondrous and enchanting planet. From the recklessness, the carelessness, the damage from our fearful and foolish relationship to our Creator, Sustainer. Forgive us, we're starting to live so that all of life has space to thrive and be respected. If we would survive, we have to learn we're all connected. So we begin from the heart, and we choose just one part of the work to be done. And we find that it's fun to be part of something bigger than we know we can achieve. And we're stepping out to heal the earth. We're choosing to believe in the beauty around us and in us. We see our community blossoming, healing us. So we let beauty lead the way to a bright and balanced day, when the earth and all our kin and ourselves are whole again.
Thank you. We give thanks. We give thanks for all of the offerings of this beloved community. We give thanks for just that we get to be in community. We give thanks for music. And we give thanks that we get to be on this earth as well. And so we will have our final hymn together. It is Blue Boat Home, and the words will be on the screen, and Jewel's song will lead us.
Please rise as you are able in body or spirit, and spirit.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Our closing words are by Molly Reamer, and they are her list for today. And she writes, rescue tadpoles from the evaporating puddle in the driveway. Look for pink roses in the field. Look for wild strawberries along the road. Listen to the crows compost. Try to identify them by their different voices. Plant basil and calendula and a few more rows of lettuce. Examine the buds beginning on the elderberries and check blackberry canes to see if the berries have set. Watch the yellow swallowtail butterflies dance. Wonder about action and apathy and what bridges gaps. Refuse to surrender belief in joy. Listen for faint echoes of hope. Feel the tender beat of humanity pulsing in the world. Feel the sun on your face and water seeping into your jeans. Remember that even if you have to move one tadpole at a time, change is always possible. Amen and ashe. And song will lead us in a postlude.
Sorry. May the eastern breezes bless you, lift your spirits, make them fly. May the southern sun shine on you, warm your heart and help you try. May the western waters cleanse you, washing over all you feel. Northern earth be yours to stand in, round you so you know what's real. Over all be strength and beauty, food and friends and music fine. Work you love and pleasant duty, love to make your spirit shine. All of these I wish upon you, multiply them 3 times 3. Draw a circle all around you, and forever blessed be. All of these I wish upon you, multiply them 3 times 3. Draw a circle all around you, and forever